back to the Knesset end of October, then we will have to decide about the future of this government.
So it is possible when the government reconvenes that there could be a no confidence vote. That is a possibility.
Absolutely, absolutely. And today when you hear the people in Israel, they are disappointed from left to right. They said to the Prime Minister, we gave you the credit to do the right thing, and unfortunately, you didn't deliver.
All right, folks, there you have it. That was Danny Danon, Likud Party member of the Israeli Knesset, on this show yesterday. And joining us now is the senior contributing editor of the Jerusalem Post, Caroline Glick. Hello, Caroline.
Hi, good to be on your show. Thanks for having me, Steve.
Well, it's always great to talk to you. Okay, do you agree? Is there a chance that the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, will face political repercussions, maybe in the form of a no-confidence vote when the Jewish holidays are over?
No, I don't foresee something like that happening. No, I don't see that anybody in the government has any particular interest in bringing down the government or going to an election. So I don't see there being a prospect of that happening. No.
What's your reaction to the ceasefire, which was agreed to, and your reaction to it being agreed to by Netanyahu without taking it to the cabinet?
The ceasefire, the best that we could have, and so I think that it was probably the best thing for Israel to do at the time. You know, the Egyptians offered a ceasefire, and we agreed to it 5 weeks ago. Hamas didn't. They needed to be pounded to the ground in order to accept it. And basically what the ceasefire is... Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that we got cut off and that you were calling me on the phone. Oh, I apologize to you and your viewers.
That's okay. No, that's okay. That's okay, Caroline. That's all right.
No, the point is just that I think that he did a good job. I don't have any particular criticism of Netanyahu. I know that it's a popular thing to do, but look, we have Al-Qaeda taking over the Israeli border with Syria. We're being shelled in a coordinated manner from Lebanon and from Syria. I don't think that we have two divisions that we could have committed to going into Gaza and taking over the area and decimating Hamas's regime. So I don't think that we had that option on the table right now in light of the situation in our region and in our neighborhood. And I think that what we wanted to do was to reach a ceasefire in which Hamas did not gain any of their demands, and in which we continued to retain control over the border with Gaza, and Egypt continued to control the border with Gaza from Egypt and seal it for shipment of arms and other things that can be used to rebuild Hamas's war machine. So I actually think we got what we needed to get. We couldn't get everything that would have made sense for us to get at this time because we were in a situation regionally and particularly in the north where we're being threatened by increasingly dangerous forces that are taking over the border regions.
Well, let's talk about this newest Golan Heights situation, and I think they're holding dozens of UN peacekeepers. This Al-Qaeda linked group. How much of a threat are they, and how much on alert is Israel?
Well, I think that they're a threat mainly because, as we see in Iraq and in Syria, the people of the Islamic State aren't deterred by anything, including the relative strength of the various forces that they're fighting, and they're incredibly cruel and barbaric. And so I think that it's a problem. I was largely concerned over the past several days that we've had coordinated fire against Israel from Lebanon and Syria at the same time, or more or less the same time. We were first shelled last week from Syria, and then about 15 minutes later we were shelled from Lebanon. And so I'm concerned about that. And again, to retake control over Gaza would require Israel to dedicate about 2 divisions of forces to the region for a considerable amount of time. And I just don't think that we can commit ourselves to that sort of campaign right now. I think that Hamas was harmed very badly. I think they got nothing that they sought. And I also think that Israel was under incredible stress diplomatically. The United States was seeking a Security Council resolution about Gaza that would have really tied Israel's hands and would have been very, very problematic. By agreeing to the ceasefire, which really involved agreeing to nothing except that we won't attack them unless we're attacked, and that we're not going to open the borders for them, and that we're not giving Qatar and Turkey, the state sponsors not only of Hamas but of the Islamic State, we're not going to give them a role in any mediation effort. But because we did this, the Americans didn't feel that they had anything to gain from attacking us in the Security Council. So I think that that was also a major consideration for Israel.
Now, one other question about this Golan situation. This is a. Do you believe these are ISIS people, or who are these? What is this terrorist group?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of these Al Qaeda affiliates. They took over the borders in the past, and they've kidnapped UN forces, peacekeeping forces in the past. About a year ago, they kidnapped about 25 Philippine peacekeepers, and they were freed after some time. And I was actually surprised that there were still Filipinos there, because I thought they had removed their delegation from the international peacekeeping force along the Israeli-Syrian border last year after their peacekeepers were taken hostage. I hadn't really followed it since they were freed, but I know that a lot of delegations that are members of the UN peacekeeping forces in Syria along the Israeli borders had in fact removed their forces from the area after the initial kidnapping by Al Qaeda affiliated rebel groups a year ago took place. So I was frankly surprised that they were still there, but they're all, more or less the same. If it's Al Nusra, if it's this one, if it's that one, they're barbarians.
Let me ask you, Caroline. You wrote a great piece for the Jerusalem Post, jpost.com, Our World Embracing the Obvious Truth, and you talk about a trip, a solidarity mission to Israel recently led by Rick Santorum, and there were others there, and you talk about people like John Voight as compared to some other people in Hollywood and in the spotlight who have weighed in on what's going on and has been going on in Israel between them and Hamas. But you say that it's very interesting that Voight and Santorum both understand that it's essential for Israel to succeed because it's going to affect America.
Look, I mean, I was just reading, I think about 40 minutes ago, an article that came out in the Washington Free Beacon that right now there's nothing barring the 300 or so known American citizens who are members of the Islamic State terrorist army from returning to the United States unimpeded. And, that's just a direct link between the kind of terrorist jihadist systems that Israel is fighting and that are.
All right, I think we've had some trouble with Caroline Glick, so we're going to thank her, and please call her on the phone and thank her. The connection, we apologize, wasn't a great connection from the beginning, but we did the best we could, and her very insightful comments were worth hearing, certainly. And much to my surprise, okay, well, Caroline's back. Caroline, you want to finish that thought?
Well, all that I was saying was that, I know you were surprised that I'm actually happy with a ceasefire. I guess you thought that I would be as angry as Danny Benon. But I really think that focusing all of our attention on what was happening in Gaza as if it was a standalone theater was wrong. And insofar as what I was saying, that all of these forces are part of the jihadist system that threatened the United States. And what Santorum, John Voight, and other allies of Israel in the United States, whether in the media or in entertainment or in politics or what have you, understand is that Israel really is the front line of the free world in the war on jihad. And the stronger Israel is, the stronger the United States is, the more protected the rest of the free world is. And so they want Israel to be strong And they want Israel to be defended in the United States because they recognize that our fates are linked. We're on the front line of this war, and therefore we must win it because otherwise it moves on.
No, absolutely. And no, you're right. I was surprised, but I was also going to say exactly what you said, pointing out that Israel couldn't really afford militarily or otherwise right now to just focus on Gaza and ignore the reality going on around them in other areas and other threats. And you explained that very well. As always, Caroline, a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you for suffering through this poor connection.
Take care. That's senior contributing editor to the Jerusalem Post, Caroline Glick, and check her out at carolineglick.com. Read all her great articles, and her great books are there and everything else. When we come back, give me 5. Don't miss it.